What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And this is sort of my once a year channel update. I wait till my birthday. It's my birthday. If you're watching this, not if it says like 3 days ago, 2 months ago, I mean, my birthday is not like in perpetuity. So if you're watching this the day it got posted, it's my birthday. If you're not, then I did this for my birthday. I know it's confusing, but that's the thing about the internet, is that you put something out there and it's meant to last forever, as we're told. They stay forever. So, what do I want to talk about? This is usually where I reveal stuff about me, where I'm at, what kind of progress I've made in the last year, those kind of things, where I hope my channel will go. So since the last time I did this, around this time last year, I started finding out I was getting into some critics groups that I applied to. So I became a member of GALICA, the LGBTQ Film Critics Association, and Critics Association of Central Florida, and also the Indie Film Critics Society of America. Indie Film Critics of America. Is there a society in there? I can't remember now. I think society is in there. Don't shoot me. And I didn't apply for everything. The previous year I had applied for Florida Film Critics Circle, and they said no. They had this like gatekeeping thing where you technically have to be nominated. So I asked somebody and like it was like a no. I was like, no. I'm like, okay, but you guys anyway. I just believe that that we have so many people out here. I'm actually so shocked there isn't like a YouTube Film Critics Association, that some of these guys who rank haven't tried to pull something together, because with the amount of influence that they have and with all the channels, I'm actually kind of surprised there isn't one. I know it would have a range of people who disagree a lot on topics, like trying to put Carson Rehnquist and the Critical Drinker in the same critics organization. I'm sure would be maddening for the two of them, but this is what the studios want, is they want influence followings, they want subscribes, likes, which is affecting my ability to stay in the Critics Association of Central Florida, because after I got in, then they moved the needle. So if I don't get a fuckload of subscribers or get on the tomato meter, I'm out. So I'm probably going to be out, which sucks because I don't really want to be out. I would love to stay in, but they just got sort of approved to be on the tomato meter, like, list of critics groups, which you would think would help me get into Rotten Tomatoes, which I did apply for this year, and I'm still in consideration for. So if you're from Rotten Tomatoes, hi, I love you. Do you have a blind film critic? Yes or no? You could pick me. And so, yeah, I probably will lose a critics organization, which is not great for my mental health overall. I'm now 42 and I'm doing this, and this is all I've ever done. I started doing this in middle school, and to be so inherently bad at the one thing that you've ever wanted to do is so depressing and frustrating. And then on top of that, like halfway through your life, to start going blind and then having to make a series of changes. I was sitting there talking to somebody, one of the few people. I lost a lot of people in my life when I started losing my vision, so I don't have that many people left, and I try not to put my feelings out there because I'm afraid I'm just gonna turn more people away. So I just put up with a lot of bullshit and internalize everything. I was just saying, like, I feel like I've just put up with so much like loss and bullshit, and I have no like, there's nothing left. I have no other give or take in me to be able to do much. Like, I kind of most times just want to be left alone, like I don't want to just keep changing or learning new things, or I'm at that point of my blindness where it's very frustrating. I just kind of want to do this thing. I know my channel sucks because I can't create thumbnail images I don't know what they are. I was trying to do it with generative AI. I'm honest. I don't lie to you guys. And generative AI was failing me in putting up pictures of things, even though I was being really specific as to, like, overly specific as to what I wanted in the image. It was still putting things in the image that had no relevance or bearing to what it was that I was doing, which is very frustrating. So I was like, oh, well, fuck that. I guess I can't use that. I can't do that anymore. Somebody let me know. They're like, by the way, your your thumbnail has pictures of people who are not in the cast of the movie. I was like, great, thank you. Uh, so much for that. Um, but and I'm not like, wow, we should all do that because it steals from art. But like, if I'm asking it to take and create a thumbnail image using like the image of the poster that's already created, that I'm asking it to do something that's already, I'm just asking it to size something. I'm asking it to try to figure out how to cut and crop. That's not the same thing as me creating new art. That's me. Anyway, uh, and I don't use generative AI for anything else. Like my reviews online, if you go to my website, macthemovieguy.com, everything I write is obviously me because it's not written in a way where generative AI could never write the way that I write. It's just not, it's not the same structure. I talk the way I talk. When I was back in film school, I used to do it the other way. I used to do it the structural way, where I was trying to do what people thought. That's the thing, is like you start listening to people and you get inside your head. And my mentor, who was part of the Florida Film Critics Society at the time, uh, just told me to be myself, that the best thing that I needed to do was to just write as me, that the person who was speaking up in class, who had kind of conversations, didn't sound anything like what was being written on paper. And so to try to find a way to do that, which is what I was trying to do, and now I do more on my YouTube channel. So yeah, this is just me. I don't know if I'm structured. I don't know if I'm couth or uncouth. I don't know what is up with anything, but it's been 8 years. Yeah, 8 years since I found out I was losing my vision. And so I've been legally blind for about that same amount of time because I lost it pretty quickly. And haven't been able to see, can't see shit. I used to be able to say that I can, I have these like blind spots, and sometimes they help me from being able to walk into a wall, and that's about it. I walked into a wall the other day. It was a great day for me. I did huge, because it was like an unnecessary wall. So like it was the side of a wall and it like jutted out. So I don't know if it's like a support beam that they like built into the wall, but I swung my stick just the other side of it. And I just like walked right back into this thing while my stick had just, because the stick swings back and forth. So it's possible that depending on how you walk, that you could clip something. I generally end up clipping like, just like door frames, but this was like a solid fucking column. Just walked right into it. I feel just shitty all the time. Shit like that all the time. And then you're like, oh my God, everybody just saw me do that. And what the fuck? What is this? So I think the least thing that I can do is still come on here and talk about audio description and accessibility and why we need it. But now we live in a world where people are trying to set the world on fire because of DEI, which is, those are kind of the programs that often benefit people like me who are disabled, who are blind, to try to make sure that we have what we need, our voices in the room. On top of that, we also have legislation that's trying to be passed to reduce accessibility rights. The Department of Energy is trying to go after Section 504 of this act that's been around since like the 70s, just so that, because it's too cumbersome to make buildings accessible. But it's the law is that if you're federally funded, that you should be accessible to everybody. Like, I should be able to go into a courthouse. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I should be able to walk into certain buildings, and so should somebody like in a wheelchair. But before that, there were buildings that wheelchair people couldn't get into, hospitals. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you take it out, it seems like we're asking for, I don't know, a mountain to be moved. But if you build this stuff in already, it's harder to retroactively do it than it is to just put it as part of your design in the beginning. So if people stop building wheelchair ramps and wheelchair accessible stalls, or elevators and only stairs, or creating, spaces with no braille, or I don't know, any other possible thing that they could do, um, into spaces that are receiving those are taxpayers' dollars. So it's a pretty simple ask, and we're trying to get rid of that. The state of Florida just did this thing where they pass a whole like slate of new educational things. Notably, they separated autism spectrum disorder and deafness from the rest of the disabilities and gave them their own function. And then they have this sort of like catch-all, like learning disabilities and physical disabilities. I guess that's where blindness is. So in the catch-all with everything else, you're also supposed to learn about blindness, but deafness gets like 3 years. So it doesn't quite get the same attention. The other day, I thought about, I might still do it. I really wanted to label this video, I don't watch gay movies. So there was a panel about accessibility in movie theaters, and a panelist was asked, what was the last thing you watched in movie theaters? And it happened to be Brokeback Mountain. The re-release was in theaters because it's the first time it's been in theaters with audio description. And then, it was opened up to like the virtual panel, and some random Karen from somewhere raised her hand and said, I don't watch gay movies, I like action movies. And it's like, I don't expect the world to be, I'm also obviously a gay film critic, but I don't expect the whole world to be like, oh my God, I love you for being gay. I realize it's not a thing, but at the same time, I think what I would say from that perspective is that as somebody who's clearly a white male, privilege is a thing, and I don't know why so many other white males are just like, please don't address it. We don't want to talk about this. When people of color address privilege, it seems like it's woke. Do you not know that you have it? I think until you lose it, you don't really realize where your privilege is. So until you start becoming part of a marginalized group like disabled, you don't actually realize where you are. But there's still these people that they want so bad to be whatever quote normal is, that they allow themselves to continue to be grouped in with this idea of normative actions. So for them to stand on the neck of another sort of marginalized, disenfranchised group somehow makes them feel normal. I'm here to tell you, Karen, from wherever the fuck you are, I don't give a shit that you don't like gay movies. I give a shit that you say that you feel empowered to say that you feel like that's your thing coming from a blind community. Google eugenics, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are people who don't want us on this planet. And I've never really understood why, now that I'm here as part of a marginalized community, why people in marginalized communities try to attack other people in other marginalized, disenfranchised communities. It makes no sense. It's like we're all scrambling to not be the bottom rung on the ladder in case the ladder loses its bottom rung. But once it loses its bottom rung, who's next? So snap your fingers, all the gays go away. Who's next? You think the world's just gonna like dissipate the hate? It's just gonna be gone? Okay, so we don't like immigrants. So gays and brown people are gone. Who's next? At some point, it's gonna come down to you. That's what the whole like first they came for. is it's about the fact that certain people will keep removing what makes them uncomfortable until they are comfortable, which could mean a lot of things. If we allow that to happen, it could mean a lot of things. You know, I know nothing about her or her racial makeup or anything like that, but I do know two things. Based on the audience that she was speaking in, she was likely blind or low vision and therefore disabled. And she's a woman. Not only are there people who would like to see her not around because her blindness makes them uncomfortable, but there are also men who have a certain idea of what a woman's place is in society, and they wouldn't like her speaking up. They wouldn't like her going outside or wearing certain clothes or doing certain things. So when she stands up and says, I don't like gay movies, you have to understand where you're coming from. And I think part of me being here now is I kind of get it. It's like you have to, when you're at the top of the ladder and then you fall down it, you see that there are rungs, and then you realize that to some extent that we're all being stood down upon in one way or another. It's just a lot of people don't like to have the kind of self-reflection to realize what it is about themselves that makes them different. I used to always know because obviously, for blind audiences, I'm a little overweight, so I've always been bullied for that, and I've always had to deal with people who think that fat people are stupid and all those sorts of things. So I've had like a tinge of that, to where like I don't walk into the same rooms like Channing Tatum does, or people just go, "Oh my God, it's Channing Tatum. He's hot and he's fit. His name's Channing. He's got a great life ahead of him." No, I don't like what. It's not like the same things, but I walk in and people are like, "Wait a minute, nah, he's fat." You know. So I had a little sliver of that where I always felt like I was like the odd man out at times. But I still had an embarrassment of privilege. And now I don't. Now it's like I'm struggling for accessibility, but I also noticed that there are so many other people that are struggling for accessibility, which is why I'm trying to be here doing this. I think it matters. And I think that's what I'm kind of getting around to here, to have blind film critics. I think that's why Rotten Tomatoes should do it. Do I meet their metrics? Absolutely not. Are they going to have to like overlook probably something to put me in? Sure. But until they put a focus on disabled film critics, um, one of the beautiful things about how we have so many voices nowadays is that you can kind of pick your critic. Like there are people, I subscribe to pretty much anybody on YouTube who talks about movies, and I get to listen to the ones more that I align with, or whose voices or whose thoughts or whatever. And even within that, I feel like I'm not picking up disabled film critics. Like they just don't exist. Every once in a while I find somebody who is, or who has a disability of some kind, like they use a wheelchair or something like that. And it's nice to know that there's somebody else out there, but it's just such a poorly represented group for such a largely, we're a lot of Americans are disabled in some manner. You know, millions of Americans have a visual impairment, but then when you start adding in other things, the number grows. Um, it's just which disabilities make people the most uncomfortable do they not want to associate with. A lot of people think the concept of a blind film critic is a joke because can I enjoy all of the film? And it's like, well, that's not really the point. And I could understand, and I've made this argument before about why I need Rotten Tomatoes, because I'm never going to be the number one critic on a site, because somebody is always going to want the primary cited. They're always going to want somebody who can talk about the visual effects, who can talk about the cinematography, who can talk about the way editing was used in lighting, and all those different things that are really specific visual elements that oftentimes audio description brushes, you know, because it's so focused on who's in the room, what do they look like, the characters, you know, and then sort of like genre specific things like horror elements or sci-fi elements, action sequences, and stuff like that, that we don't really get this stuff, the directorial choices. We don't get a ton of the costume and art design and production design. We get a little bit of it, but not all of it. And it's always sort of fed through audio description. So I'm always going to be a niche film critic. It's never going to change. But there are people out there who, A, need this representation to know that it's possible, and B, they need to have this point of view be told. It's important because I still run into people who have no idea what audio description is, who work in film. I have posted reviews of films that have directors have reached out to me specifically and said, I apologize you didn't get the audio description track, and have personally emailed me the audio description track, and I've re-reviewed their movies. So that's cool. I've also helped films get audio description that didn't have them before, and connect them to teams when a director cares enough about audio description to add it to their film. That's been pretty cool. I've also been used as a guinea pig, as I know that I've been used in the this is what happens when a blind person watches your movie. Don't you want to put audio description on it? The examples that I would give that would be Amelia Perez and Flow, which I reviewed. I sat through both of those movies without audio description. Yes. Both of them. I have sat through movies not in my language for the sake of being able to talk about why we need English audio description. Sat through the whole thing, and I talked about it so that people knew that I'd sat through the whole thing, because I was able to hit certain beats and give you the little bits and pieces that I picked up along the way. For example, Amelia Perez does have a little bit of English in it. So if you don't sit through a film, then you don't necessarily know that. And sometimes I'll watch a documentary like No Other Land, and there's a little bit of English in that. So if you don't watch the film, you don't know that there's this little bit of English in it. But if I'm able to tell you that, then you know that I watched the movie. You know, I sat through the whole movie, didn't really know what the fuck the movie was about. But then, okay, so he did it. So he proved that he couldn't follow the movie without audio description. But yes, there was this one scene where English was spoken. So there's so many instances like that where, and then why would you use my review as the number one? You wouldn't, you know. I'm not going to be the primary film critic for Variety as a blind film critic. However, might Variety find it interesting enough if I was on the tomato meter and they didn't know that that's the thing, is that most people don't know I exist. Maybe. The tomato meter gives me what is a very sort of, you know, we use the term visibility a lot. It's kind of pointless for me because I have no visibility, but I also have no visibility in the way that you would use that term. So it gives me that. I'm not looking to make a lot of money. I haven't. I've done very little of anything that would make me money. I've done quality check. That's about it. I've done QC work for audio description, and I'm not even prolific at that, because the thing is, so with that, working in quality check, so being a blind quality check is like an additional stage that most films don't pay for, because if they pay for the quality check phase, they pay for the sighted one. The blind one is considered to be like the additional, like, let's make sure the blind people can follow the film and get the feedback from it. So it's this extra thing that most films don't pay for. Studios have a hard time paying for the kind of audio description that fully represents and supports their film. And we're starting to bleed into a world that is supported heavily by text-to-speech, which is not going to be great for audio description if they start using it for the wrong things. I'm very much a describe everything person, and I believe that we can't get to 100%. It's just impossible. There's too many hours of films and television series out there to get to 100% with human. There aren't enough description teams. There aren't enough narrators. There aren't enough writers. They would all kill themselves. If all of a sudden everybody just started ordering audio description for everything, dead. They would all be dead. And especially if they were all like, we're ordering all this audio description and none of it can be text to speech. dead. They'd all be dead. They'd all just jump out of windows. You'd just be seeing mass suicide because it'd be way too much work. It's insane. I mean, yes, they'd also be incredibly wealthy, but at a certain point, you have deadlines. People just keep throwing work at you, and you're like, I can't write this much. And the narrators are like, they're vocal fry and just, there's only just so much a person can do. The industry is not big enough to support the large percentage that's still left remaining out there. So text to speech is a way to get a lot of that library content, a lot of that catalog content, a lot of those sort of like obscure films that somebody might want to watch, but largely not a lot of people are going to want to watch. Older TV shows, um, especially ones that ran for maybe like one season or two seasons, but are still, for some reason, still floating around online. Like Tubi had Mrs. Columbo for a while, and I was like really intrigued, but I never watched it. I was like, oh my God, I really want to see. I didn't even know that was a thing. So that would be an excellent show because I don't think there are a lot of people who are clamoring to watch it, but it should be accessible. The thing is, I fight for accessibility regardless of whether or not I believe that I want to watch it or whether or not I care or whether or not it's my thing. I would, I believe there are plenty of things that I don't like. I reviewed Sound of Freedom because my point was to try to get a better audio description. It was a film that had human audio description online, and then it had a bitch trying to get its audio description onto any. When it was in theaters, it had human, and then had this weird text to speech track on Amazon. So it's about trying to get these films audio description. I'm not crazy about it. King of Kings is currently a film that, for some reason, I don't know why, but they have such a hard time, that faith-based distributor, getting their audio description to travel. The Chosen is like one of the most like requested series all the time that people are clamoring for. So, which I think might have audio description. I don't know. They keep talking about it like they're conceptually going to do audio description at some point. I'm not going to watch it, but you might, and you deserve to have audio description for it. So, if there's a pro-Trump documentary, that's not my thing, but it should be accessible to blind people who want to watch it. Accessibility is not like it's not a political thing. It's not a political tool. It's not a device that you say, well, you don't get this because I politically don't agree with you. It's just everybody gets it. I could hate everything that you say, and I'm still going to fight for your accessibility. Dinesh D'Souza's documentaries, please audio describe them. So it's just across the board. It's a thing. It's like, I don't know, clean drinking water or something like that. Like, we should all have that. We should all be able to breathe air. Like, certain things, I think accessibility is in that. I'm not trying to say that only certain things should have audio description. But oftentimes that's what it is, which is why I'm trying to do this, which is why I'm trying to talk about it, is because it feels like right now where we're at is that studios and streaming services get to pick and choose what has audio description, which means they're sort of, they're already sort of siphoning down their, and cutting down our list so that they're very already censored in terms of what we get. So you turn on a streaming service as a sighted person and you see all those titles. Well, search instead by audio description and watch a whole bunch of those titles disappear, and go away. It's very sort of upsetting and disappointing. And then you see things that have audio description elsewhere, but that streaming service didn't care enough to find it and to pick it up and to add it. So, but yet you're paying the same amount as everybody else. It's this constant problem. And if I'm not on the tomato meter, it puts it that farther away. If I'm on the tomato meter, if Rotten Tomatoes backs me and stands behind me and says what he's saying is important, accessibility matters, then maybe. Because right now I get sent screeners without audio description, even if I ask for it, even if it's for a film that has audio description, they seem to not be able to deliver it to me. Like, they don't know how to attach audio description to screeners. Even physical discs, like even with the DVDs that I get physical screeners, But yet, I know for a fact that there are blind members in SAG. SAG actually has an accessibility requirement in their voting. So you have to submit with audio description for the Screen Actors Guild. I don't know that that's true for any other guilds, but I mean, there got to be blind people in the writing guild. That's not hard to do. You don't need to see to be able to write a script, you know? Like, you just have to have a computer with a screen reader. So yeah, I don't know what I'm doing with my life anymore. It's endlessly depressing. I'm probably not going to be picked by Rotten Tomatoes. I am one of the slowest channels to gain followings. And the sad thing is that I'm not trying to fake anything. It's just me every time, which means the internet is rejecting me, which means the internet doesn't want me. Which I don't know if they don't want me or they don't want the blindness or what, but I'm acutely aware of the fact that I have under 500 subscribers and I've been doing this for a couple years now. So I'm not even halfway to monetization as of me posting this. And monetization is at the low end. It's not much. I have a friend from high school who I really haven't spoken to. I just sort of casually follow on. And he got there just by talking about Stephen King, because he's a librarian and he has all these ancient Stephen King books. And he just got monetized. So I know about what he makes. It's not a lot. He just barely crossed the 1,000-point mark and started getting monetization. It's not a lot. So it's not like stuff that you would make a living off of, but it's the kind of thing that I could turn around and maybe pay somebody to help with my videos or make it look better or something like that. And I don't know, get an intro or whatever the hell I need to do to look more normal to everybody else that can see. To me, it doesn't matter because I don't think about visuals in that same way. So, for my birthday, I don't know, I just shout out to a couple things. I want to shout out to Galika for accepting me, Critics Association of Central Florida for accepting me. You know, there isn't, even though I think I'm probably going to get kicked out, I still thank you for ever taking a risk on me. Thank you to the podcasts I've been on. I love being on The Dark Room with Alex and Lee. I was just on Access Fuckery, hosted by Liz Gutman. I've been on other podcasts, Roy Samuelson and The Adna Presents. I can't even think of all of them. I've been on there was one in Canada. I can't remember the name of it. There was a Canadian podcast. I did another one earlier this year. Man, I've been on a couple, but I can't remember. The Mod Squad, the podcast. So thank you to anybody who has helped to platform me at all, and who has tried to help get me through this. This is really tough. As I turn 42 and I'm sitting here, doing this for my birthday. This is deeply depressing most of the time. And then I'm going to turn it on and try to be like, oh my God, I'm really happy in the next video. And actually, I'm really not. So if you want to know what about my life, that's about my life. That's the realism, probably the realism behind a lot of content creators, because the pressure to get those likes and subscribes is really high. But on top of that, there's just the addedness of I'm still making this transition. I don't think I'll ever stop making the transition, because I keep finding things that I'm not good at, or I find things that it's like, that would have taken me a minute 8 years ago. It takes me 15 now. I feel like I'm a really bad blind person. Like, I'm really bad at being blind, and there are other people who are really good at it. And there's the other side of it is other people who just see me and who have stayed with me think I'm like inspirational. And the couple people who try to support me are older, but don't know anything about computers, which doesn't help me up for this. they all think I'm inspirational, and it's like, I don't feel inspirational. Every once in a while I do. Every once in a while, by getting out of the house and being in a space. I work someplace. I don't want you to know where I work in real life, but I work someplace. It's educational. And I every once in a while there is somebody who's like me and who walks around, and when they see me, it's like I feel like I've changed their day, like their at least their day. I don't want to say their life, but like I feel like them seeing that somebody else has a job who's walking around with a stick is because there's such a stigma. I've seen people who don't, who use their little bit of vision, and they keep trying to live this normal life because they don't want the stigma of walking. I can't do it. I can't see shit. I have to walk around with a stick, even if everyone is staring at me, and then I feel like everyone is staring at me, which is why I'm like, I think I'm a bad blind person. But every once in a while, I run into a blind person, not literally, but maybe at some point. Um, and and they're like, "Oh yeah, I have a stick too," and they're just so excited by my presence out there in the world that it kind of it validates having left the house that day, to be able to help somebody else feel good about their life and to not feel like they're a unicorn, because I feel so much like a unicorn all the time. So lonely out there in the world. Um, and blind culture isn't really a thing. The fact that there was a panel and somebody just stood up and said, I don't like gay movies. We have no culture where everybody has different opinions. We don't, blind people as a population just don't chill. It's not the same thing. There's our articles on deaf culture and why the blind culture is not a thing. Uh, yeah. So to the blind community, I apologize that I'm your representation ever. I'm sure I'm not great at it, and I feel that. Believe me, I feel the imposter syndrome. I feel deeply inadequate at all times, and I have this one time a year where I get to voice that, where I get to actually say, yeah, I do. I feel deeply inadequate, but I've been doing this my whole life, and if I can't do this one thing right, then I have nothing left. There's nothing left. I'm not good at anything else. This is what my degree is in, and the world is already telling me with my 460 subscribers that I've made a horrible life choice. So, yeah. I first got published when I was in middle school, when I was like, it was in 1995, was the first time I was published in an actual newspaper. I lived in a small town, didn't have a movie critic, and I wanted to be one. And I asked the newspaper if I could write reviews for them. And for almost 2 years, I did that. And then they picked up a syndicated movie critic. So I got my experience really early on. And some of my reviews are so cringy. From a middle school perspective, I really overscored the Power Rangers movie. But yeah, it's all I ever wanted to do. I used to look at critics and feel like it was very gatekeepy and feel like they hated so many mainstream movies. And I was like, but I like these movies. Everyone else does. I know everyone I know likes this movie. Why is it that they don't? And trying to find that happy medium. And I think the internet brought about a whole new wave of people who had appreciated film for years, but couldn't get hired at a paper. And then the explosion of film programs and cinema studies and all this other kind of stuff has really just pushed what the world of film criticism, but at the same time, everyone now speaks about it. So it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it or what, if you have a degree in it or anything like that, nobody cares. It's all about, can you get likes and subscribes and followers? And I've never been popular. Nobody's ever liked me. I don't have friends, which is why I'm on here. And I'm not, if I knew how to get likes and subscribes, I would have a friend circle. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for coming to my depressing birthday party. For myself. I don't know where I'm gonna be a year from now. And I feel that all the time. Like I stopped being able to see a future for myself when I started losing my vision. I was like, I don't know I don't know what's next. I don't know what's down the road for me. So it's just about like, well, I got it this morning, you know. Yay. Let's take this day as it comes. What am I gonna watch today? I don't know. Something, you know. And I don't know how long I'm gonna do that for, but I'm gonna try to keep fighting for accessibility and audio description and doing the best that I can. Rotten Tomatoes is definitely gonna say no to me. I already know that, and it's gonna kill me. But just gonna put that out there to the world. So at this, because you've made it this far, you must really love me, because this video is long as shit. But I only do this once a year. I don't want to do this every single day. I don't want to do this every single week. I would do it if there was like a huge life update. Like if I was like, I need to take some time off because jail, or I'm moving across country, or massive death in the family. So, you know, like those kind of things. But in general, I don't just put my thoughts out there to the world. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. The longer you subscribe to me, the more I love you. The longer that you've been here. I finally figured out that I could just click on and see who had subscribed to me. And my channel has existed for a long time. And I used to post not movie reviews on here. I used to use it for other things. It's all movie reviews now. Everything else is just set to private, and you're not, just only I can see it. So I have some like old friends, and my oldest subscriber is somebody that it kills me that they're my subscriber, because I do not like them as a person, and it's killing me. But this is not like Facebook or any other platform that I could ban them from. And I realize that when I come on YouTube, like, I'm here. Fuck. And they could be watching all of my content. Nothing I can do about it. Sharing my blind journey. Hopefully they have better things to do with their time after all these years. But otherwise, yeah, cool. Thanks to everybody else. Anyway, and I don't know what else to say. Yeah, I'm 42, so Jackie Robinson's jersey is my age. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys with a long ass thing like this a year from now.